Morning everyone, just a quick thing on something I found this morning. Genesis 3:3 talks about the Eve talking to the serpent, but God said to Eve, eat from the tree of knowledge and you will die, don't even touch it. So I was trying to work out what that means, because they did eat from the tree of knowledge, but they didn't die. They were put out into the world and had to toil. So technically they ate from the tree of knowledge and went to work. So a couple of things could have happened there. Number one, God could have lied. And when he said die, he meant work. I doubt that's the interpretation we should take. The other one is that there's a different kind of dead, which is what Rohan and I have been talking about, which is a civil death. And you'll find that, I think it's page 223 of Black's Law, Volume 5. We'll just look under C for civil. In Latin, it's civiter moritur, is civilly dead. Now, this was a state of slavery where you don't have any rights left. You're just left to, you commit a crime. So, what's the crime you've committed? Was worshipping Lucifer, the cipher. Louis Cypher, our mate there, he created this tree of knowledge. And if you eat a piece of fruit, the apple, and it's poison, that's what killed you. So where else do we find poison? Is in law, is Glossa viperina esque corroded by Sarah Textus. Now it's a poisonous gloss that corrupts the essence of the text. Rohan and I had a little bit of a sort of a conundrum with this one. Is okay, so we knew what a gloss was, so what's a poisonous gloss? Well, the poisonous gloss is the one you can't read. it's the dog Latin. It's the corporate emblem that they're placing, epithetting behind your name, and they're doing it without any authority, because on your birth certificate that epithet is actually above your name, and then they go and create, there's no joinder, so then they go and create joinder in English by placing it behind your name. So this is what I'm asking the constables in Tenterfield when we go to court, as to where they got that authority to change my name, because that's slavery. So Genesis 3 chapter 3, however that works, is telling you that you'll be dead, but you won't die like medically dead. I don't imagine if you went to hospital and they declared you medically dead and you weren't, that'd be a good thing. They're telling you you'll be civilly dead. And you'll lose all your rights, and you became civilly dead by committing a very serious crime. That serious crime was worshipping Lucifer. The next passage goes on to say that you'll have a knowledge of good and evil. So the good is the language you can understand, which is the English, which they mix in with the dog Latin. So basically the whole Catholic religion, or the Christian religion, is giving you dominion, setting up your trust, giving you an estate, and then on the next page taking it off you, telling you how they do it. So this is where the Christian name and all that comes into it, why you can only use that one, because when you get kicked out of the Garden of Eden, that's the punishment, that's your death, and it's a civil death. It's not an actual medical death. So that's what I wanted to talk to you about. Also, guys, if you're in Australia, have a look. There's a piece of an act. It is the... So just give me a second, try and bring it back up. Civil Procedure Rules. So we have a Civil Procedure Act 2013, I think we have Civil Procedure Rules as 2014. 5.2 of those rules tells you if the police can't identify you, they are supposed to go through a process where they apply to the court to get an order to have a discovery hearing. Now this discovery hearing is where that they actually attempt to define your identity. And while they're doing this, that's when they can examine all the contracts, the driver's licenses, the birth certificates, your use of the money, all those benefits that make you into the corporate entity. Now, if you're like me and you've decided to give all that up and stop worshipping Mammon, you're not using the money, the licenses and all that stuff, they're going to have a very hard time proving that you're a corporate entity. But in my case, Tweedledum and Tweedledummer from Tenterfield didn't follow that. They're just going, no, you're who we say you are. Now, if we have a look at the police, they they weren't always police, so they became police, and then if they want to leave the police, they can leave the police. And if you leave the police and your sergeant rang you up and said, well, you haven't been at work for a year, what's happening, come on, you go, well, no, I've left, I resigned. So you're allowed to change your corporate entity. You're allowed to be these different things through life. You know, you might go off and be something else. You know, in case of Patrick Cosgrove, you might go off and be a toilet cleaner. So then he's not constable anymore, and that's what I'm saying. We were all tricked into being misters. I was too. But they're trying to just hold me. You know, you were a mister. Well, it's okay, but I've not now. I've left. You know, don't try and drag me back into this job. And the thing is, they never pay you to be a mister. If you're a mister and they can book you 24 hours a day, you should have been getting paid 24 hours a day. And they haven't done that either. So they're making assumptions, even though the government has given them process in 2014 to go, well, if you don't know who somebody is and they're not saying that that's who they are, here's a process under 5.2 of the Civil Procedure Rules, and you can do it. And they haven't done it. They're just making a presumption that you were, so you must still be, and we've got you, which is slavery, guys. 270 of the Criminal Code Act 1995. I think it's section 7 of the Rome Statute. Guys, the Rome Statute is basically what the Libor Code became. So this talks about all the war crimes. Now 5.16 of the Rome Statute says if you write to the prosecutor of The Hague, they have to get back to you either way. Now I've written 4 times over these matters and I haven't heard anything. So technically this matter is still outstanding in The Hague, and the local court of New South Wales has decided to go along and hear this matter. That's contempt of court, contempt of the ICC, very serious crime. So, but it'll be interesting to see where it goes. So the church is up and running, guys. Insofar as what a church is, it's a religious it's not even religious organisers. It's people that study the teachings of Christ. It doesn't say worship, it doesn't say believe in it, it's just study it. So that's what we do, and I think that's the safest place for us to be at the moment. So we can go from there. There's something else I want to talk to you about. 5.2, yeah, so you're not being paid. It's just an assumption, and the mister puts you in the military, as we know. Page 516 of the Australian Government Styles Manual says that you're in the military if you have the mister, so you're a military corporate entity, and they're saying you can't leave, even though they haven't followed due process and followed their procedures. They're not letting us out, and of course they don't want to let us out of the military because they're making a lot of money off us because we forgot to ask to get paid. Unfortunately for Jason Firth and Patrick Cosgrove, is that they're sitting on a contract that I sent them, which was $6 million a day to turn up with Mr. Hilda, so we're up to 24 million so far. And under the Unidroid agreement and the Maxim Pacta Sunt Servanda, contracts must be kept. So I've turned up, I've been Mr. Hilda even though I didn't want to under duress. They're proceeding, the money's got to be paid. It's as simple as that. And even though the amounts seem high, that's the contract. I just hit them with the adhesion contracts they hit us with. So you've just got to understand, it's all about where you stand. You can be the Christian, or you can be Adam and Eve who got kicked out of the garden. It's up to you. You've been given a choice. And the reason you were kicked out of the garden, have a look in your, open your wallet, have a look at your licenses and all that. That's worshipping Lucifer, the devil, and becoming civilly dead. And that's the only place in law, is the only place where you can be alive and dead at the same time, by definition. It's the only place I've seen it. So that was this quick video, guys. Obviously everything's still cruising along nicely. Some people, I've read all the comments by the way on the other video, thank you. I don't know how to get in contact with people other than the fact that I'm in Sydney, so if you want to catch up, shoot Rom an email through his YouTube channel and he'll be able to get in contact with me. Talk to you soon, guys. Cheers.